Hi, I'm Keith. Mark's behind the camera, and today we're going to work with sea salt or kosher salt, if you have that. And we're going to do a little thing with watercolors. I have selected the McCormick brand salt grinder. And what happens is with salt creates very interesting textures on watercolor paper with watercolors. So that's McCormick brand. All right, I am going to begin by getting a little bit of paint out on my tray.
Does it have to be a brand new package of McCormick?
No, it can be fine old sea salt. Now, the reason I buy McCormick is I actually did an art show with one of the McCormick descendants, which I can't remember her name anymore, but she was very nice. We did a show. She did feather art, so she did leis. I lived in Hawaii at the time. Leis and feather capes and jewelry out of beautiful feathers, and I painted birds. So it was a good show, though. We had a lot of fun.
Okay, so for the people watching, you have nothing drawn on this paper right now.
That is correct.
Okay, they're completely blank squares.
Yes.
You just made 3 individual, somewhat equal size to give various demonstrations inside. So
I'm not very good with a ruler.
No,
okay?
I know.
I
don't want somebody to be like, I can't see the picture. There is no picture. This is strictly a...
Exactly. I just want to show you, A, how to do it, B, how to get different textures out of it, and then where you might be able to apply it, because I actually brought one of the paintings I'm working on to show how I'm using it. One of the things about this technique that I like, and it's kind of fun, is, to me, it seems to work even better if you have like 2 colors rather than just one color. For some reason, it kind of pulls the paint in different directions, and it's a lot of fun. So I'm using what Schminke's calls a cerulean blue. To me, it's a little closer to a phthalo blue. Very, very bright, very beautiful blue. I'm also using a color called May Green. That is a Schminke flavor, once again. And the May Green is very similar to a permanent green light. But I do a lot of underwater. I do turtles, sea turtles, that kind of thing. So this is kind of fun. First thing I'm going to do is I am going to wet the paper. We're going to do this in kind of like a timed order, so you'll understand how this works. I am going to wet all 3 of these, okay? And then we're going to put the salt on at different times. And talk about watching the paint dry. That's exactly what we're going to be doing. And I'll explain it as I go. I just got to get it wet. Now you want to kind of soak the paper pretty thoroughly. You want to get it wet. You don't need puddles, but you definitely want to get it wet. And because we are where we're filming, it's pretty much winter. We have a much drier environment, so I'm going to work fairly quickly. All right, I got my big brush on too. Okay, so like I said, we want it wet, and then we kind of want to. All right, here's where it gets fun. We want to add color, and we're going to do it on all 3 of them. So I'm going to go ahead and start. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add different. I'm going to try to keep the same amount of paint per each one, so it doesn't look like there's a variation. The idea is I like to not mix them, okay, but kind of kind of push them into each other, but not exactly make it all like a blue-green, but rather blue-green. So here we go. All right. So, and of course, as you do this, you're obviously adding more water to the paper. So you want to, take that into account also. So this technique is all about timing, and it really is. You can get some very bizarre effects, and like I said, I'll show you what you end up with, or what you can use it for. And I use it for a lot of different things, but I have an example that you'll see later on. All right, so it's wet. Got the color in, and now I use the grinder. I've set it at the largest setting. Okay, and I'm going to do the first panel. I'm going to add just a little more color. Let's make sure we got, this one looks a little thinner than the other two, so. All right, so this will be the wettest we're doing, okay? So I'm going to start it. Now, you may ask, can I use just regular table salt?
Hey Keith, can I use just regular table salt?
I thought I was going to ask it, but okay. No, and the reason is, I don't know, the ionizing and also the fine grain, really you don't get a good effect. Now, like I said, this is great with sea salt or kosher salt or rock salt, anything that's, I've actually used driveway salt on a couple of occasions.
Don't eat that salt.
Yeah, no, don't eat it, but you can certainly play with it. So I've, sprinkled. You don't want to put so much on, okay, that it. I'm going to add it just a hair more. There we go. We don't want to put so much on that it's just covered. It's got to have a little air to it, or the effects will not be all that cool. And now we're going to find out if it really is dry down here, because basically, like I said, this is watching paint dry. Okay, so
you can't lean forward that much.
I can't.
Nope.
Fine, I'm coming back.
There you go.
Were you focused on the top of my head? Is
for a second.
That bald spot starting to show through again? All right. So
how long do you think we're going to wait before we put some salt on the next one?
And I'm going to be real honest with you. I don't know.
Oh.
What I'm looking at is how the paint is absorbing into the paper, how fast it's drying. Because I'm also looking over here to see what the salt is going to do. Okay? So, isn't this fun?
Now, the size of the grain of salt makes a difference, I'm assuming?
It does, yeah. And that's what I was saying. You get more ropier, bigger effects if you use bigger chunks of salt. So you'll see once this gets going. So I'm wondering, was this a good idea?
You picked the
yeah, I know. I picked the subjects, but it is kind of interesting. Like I said, if I were painting anything else, this would be drying up like crazy, and I'd be going, darn, But now that we're sitting watching it,
so okay, next question then about this is, I'm trying to think.
You don't have any questions.
No, I do. It's so we always say don't use like the blow dryer because it'll fade the paint, right?
Right. Yeah.
Can you use a blow dryer for this part and then go back over it with more color, or once it's got the salt and the salt's dry, you should never touch it again with paint?
Basically, that you can go over it, but you'll just cover up what some of the effects are. It'll just dull it down with color. And
so it's a way to settle the effect if you think it's too...
Right, exactly. If it's over the top, yeah, you can always add color. Here's one thing about this technique. Once. You only get to do it once. You don't get to go back and say, hey, I'm going to throw some more salt on there and get some more color. Done. Yeah, so that's why you want to kind of pick your effect based on, the time thing that we're going to be talking about here. So like I said, this is all pretty wet. All of them. So as it's drying, this one's already starting to move the paint around. I don't know if you can see it.
A little bit.
You better be able to see it, or this is going to be no fun at all.
I see more of the dark. Like, I'm assuming that's where some of the granules are?
Yes, yeah. So what's happening is the salt is kind of sucking up some of the paint, but it's also taking the wet parts and pushing the color. It's actually kind of lifting the color up and pushing it away from the salt. So you get this double effect. That's why it's kind of a very cool thing to do. And
then the next thing, looks like you got some rock salt in the middle one that weren't supposed to be there yet.
Oops, yeah. And it's already, you can kind of see where the white has been pushed off. We're going to give this a little bit more time. I could actually show you one of my paintings.
Yeah. So slide that up to the corner so we can still watch it dry.
Okay.
And go that way.
That way?
Yep.
How's that?
A little bit more if you want.
All right. So I'm going to...
Yeah, you're fine. You're not...
Gently step out of camera here.
Yeah.
I'm still here. Go? Yeah.
Oh, wait, there's
I'm still here.
We're safe.
All right, here we go. I found it.
Don't worry, boys and girls.
I found it. I'm here. All right. So a lot of times I paint sea turtles, and I love doing the texture on the what do you call it? Coral, on the corals and stuff like that. So I have actually created using the dip.
Hold on.
Closer.
Well, just give me a second.
Sure.
There we go.
All right. Better?
Yep.
All right. So, can I point and...
You can. I can see the turtle.
Okay, yeah, this is a turtle. All right, so, down here, this is the wettest, ropiest. I call it ropey because of these long... This is where the paint is the wettest. That's what our first panel is going to be. Okay? And here, same thing. And then a little bit up here, too. Now, these darker areas are variations on how much and when I applied the salt. So, the longer the salt is on the wet paper, the ropier it gets. This is where it's almost dry. You throw the salt on, and you get these much tighter, little smaller things. And then, like I said, so basically what I would do is wet an area, and then put in my color, and then throw my salt. Now, obviously, this one I wanted a much looser effect. Over here. I wanted them lighter, and then over here, more paint, more salt, and much tighter, what do you call it? More little white things.
Yeah, finer granules.
Yeah.
Up by the shell in the upper right corner.
Yes.
Right, so where was that in the
wet
to dry
grand scheme of things you asked earlier, what happens if I paint over it?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I did. I threw the color in, and then I didn't want it to be white, but I wanted something back here, something slightly sparkly. But I put the paint down, I put the salt on, I let it dry, removed whatever excess salt, and then I added another layer of color so as to embed this into it. So whereas you see the white here, where it goes all the way to the paper, here I have slightly, I painted it over top of it to get that texture and that color, to keep that color. Okay.
So is that a finished painting?
No.
Oh, because I don't see any blue tape.
Honest to God, this is the truth. I had a class where I ran out of tape. We actually borrowed the tape from my painting so that I could put it on a kid's watercolor. Anyway, all right, I'm back.
No.
So we're about to try this again. I'm going to throw a little more salt into the middle one.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'm actually wondering.
Salty.
It actually did start, while I was talking, it really did start drying up on me.
What, bro?
So, yeah.
Side note, any trick in those style salt shakers to get finer granules? Or...
Yeah, they have you can get to a finer granule. They have 3 settings, large, medium, and small.
You tell I don't cook too often.
Yeah.
You can adjust your grinder. Wow.
Oh.
Well, if that last one is too dry for the effect, maybe we can show painting over that one then. Maybe? No? You think it'll be alright?
Well, after we get the salt on it.
Well, that's what I mean. Like if you think it's going to be too dry and you need to put the salt on, then, you know.
Well, this is, I might be showing you in 2 steps. Big, fat, ropey, less. Okay?
That's what I meant, and then the third one would have been putting paint over top of it again to dilute it, but what do I know?
Well, it's not diluting. It was
I'm
basically...
going to keep bringing it up till you just go for it. You're like, sure, let's do it.
What you're saying is you want me to put more salt on this.
More salt.
So, like I said, what I'm afraid of is that while talking, I may have already missed my window of opportunity. Uh-oh. We will be able to see it, I think, in this one. This one... Maybe. But I think we will be able to see that this one is getting a much more tighter grain, okay? Where this is really starting to loop out now, okay? And this one, like I said, I may have waited just long enough to not do anything. So,
now, can you add water at this point?
Not recommended.
Okay.
Yeah, you might end up with... like I said, it's one of those things that it's a one-shot deal. So you either get it or you don't.
Now, odd question. What about having the salt in your paint tray when you mix the water so the salt dissolves before you use it?
No.
No? Okay.
Again, I think you're messing with nature, with science, you know? That's crazy talk. No, it's actually the granules themselves that create this, you know, this effect. Now I am starting to get much finer grain right here, in here also, okay? So the last 2, maybe the last one, maybe we could experiment a little bit, add a little more color to it while the salt is on the paper, okay? Because Mark likes to try new and different things. So,
yay.
So we really haven't put much. I really didn't put a whole lot of salt on that one. But let's find out. I'm gonna just give it a quick wash.
Oh, the noise.
Really? You can hear that?
Yeah,
there, now I have salt water for my paint. All right, I'm just gonna add a little more kind of heavier color right in here. Isn't science great, boys and girls? All right.
It would be if you could tell me the scientific reason it's doing what it's doing.
I have no freaking ideas. I am one of those guys. I am not a big gimmick guy, okay? But as you can see, what happens with the coral on my turtles, I also do it with other, you know, and create different textures, rock, granite, that kind of thing. It really makes for great texture. And
I was going to say, I can't wait till we paint a rock quarry. It's going to be perfect.
It's going to be. Is that next week? Yeah. We love rock quarries. All right, so I added more paint and more water, so I don't know, boys and girls. This could be scary.
Quick question in the comments.
Yeah.
You've probably... No, I want people in the comments to answer my question.
Oh, fine.
As Keith keeps wiping the salt onto my floor, rock salt or sea salt doesn't attract pests, does it?
No. No, cows and deer. Deer, yes. But I think you're okay.
Yeah. I have other problems if I come downstairs and there's a live deer licking my floor.
If there's a lot of crunching when you walk, too. As you can see now, this has really gotten very ropey. And you can see how it breaks up. And this is just fun. I really do enjoy kind of watching this little technique. Kind of wish I'd have started a wee bit sooner, but I was bragging on my turtle. Yeah, I know. So, hang in there, boys and girls. We'll see what we end up with. At least on the top, it looks like it's doing its job. Down here, it looks like I waited just a hair too long. And that's the whole thing about this. Timing. If you wait too long, there's not enough water to push. And you end up with not as effective shot. And if you miss your shot... I don't know if you're going to get another one, because like I said, this seems to only work once, okay? This one, we're doing a big experiment because it had dried enough. We added a little water. We threw some more salt on. It might work, might not. So, where can I put this excess salt then? If I can't throw it on the...
I can get you a damp paper towel.
Yeah, oh, fine. So that's McCormick sea salt. All right.
Not a sponsor.
No, they're not. I'm just thinking back to fonder days.
I would if I had paper towel, but you have the roll.
Where is it?
I don't know. It's not where it's supposed to be. Oh.
Yeah. And as soon as I come to his studio, I start moving stuff around so he can't find it. He ain't gonna find it. Alright, we are starting to see, we're getting a little more of the granulation right in here. This seems just a wee bit too wet. Mr. Hicks, I propose that we possibly could let it dry and then come back and talk about it.
All right. Yeah, we'll let it go. I'll speed up the video a little bit. So, reasons?
Just because I'm not sure people want to stand here and watch paint dry.
Well, not at normal speed.
Not at normal speed, exactly. Yeah.
I still need audio for it.
Oh, there you go. No. All right, good. Now, are they both off? They're not off at all.
No, it's not off at all. I still want to have the where they can see it. Just don't move it.
Okay.
You can talk or get away from the desk if you want.
It's not gonna affect anything. This camera's off, right?
This is off. That one's on.
Okay,
That's
That's what I wanted to know. All right. This is doing exactly what it was supposed to do. Mm-hmm. I just was shocked how quickly. I only talked for a couple minutes and boom, I'm too late. Hi, we're back. The paint's dry and we're going to take a look at the results. I am going to first gently, hopefully, rub the salt off. Now we don't want to do it too hard, just kind of pull a little at a time.
That's really weird sounding in the camera.
Yeah.
Sounds like you're breaking up chips or something on it.
I am breaking up chips of ice. Delicious. All right. So I'm using a paper towel. I'm sure cloth, anything. Just don't do it too fast or too hard, so you don't scratch the paper with some random chunk of salt. But okay, here's our second one. Now, like I said earlier, I did not get got to talking, and it dried up on me a little quicker than I expected. So only the top half actually did what it was supposed to do. And this one was a little bit of an experiment to see, could we try to get water and salt and maybe rehydrate it because I waited too long. And the answer is no. So I'm just going to kind of scrape this off. It's not very effective, but here's what we're going to do. We're going to...
All right, I just zoomed in, so don't move the paper. It's in a perfect spot.
Sorry.
That's all right. Well, just so people can see closer details of what you're talking about.
Okay. So on this one, it was very wet. You get these very large, ropey effects, okay? And sometimes I got to get down to using a fingernail just to get some of the salt off. But you get this really ropey effect. Now, this was much drier, so we've got this much smaller, much tighter little things. This is where a stray bit of salt here and here had fallen off from over here. So that's why these pieces are a little bit bigger. But as you can see, it's a much tighter grain. This one, again, we attempted to try to do it twice. And you just end up with a mess. It's not very effective. Doesn't look very good. As you can see up here, that's that close grain again, because that was still damp enough. So, bad. One shot. You get it or you don't, okay? And just, that's it. So, like for this one here, you know, I did not work quickly enough, and this is what happens. So, at this point, I always like just kind of peeling the tape off real quick so you can kind of see what this looks like. A lot of times I'll take some of the cracks or cracklatures, and that's where I'll actually maybe divide things. I'll actually use some of the lines that are in the thing itself.
For what?
Well, if I'm doing rock or if I'm doing coral and I want to break them into different pieces,
okay,
I want to kind of look at it and decide, hey, I like that kind of, I'm going to crack it right there, you know. I might add a little more paint to do it. So, without losing what we have, okay? So, as you can see, can get very bright.
Way was it?
This way? Okay.
Perfect.
All right. So, just as an example of what I was talking about, I might look at it and go, I'm going to take a little bit of my blue, and I think I'm going to...
Oop, back up your head.
Oops,
There
sorry. All right. I might take this little section here. I'm going to break that into a little bit of a triangle. Maybe come down here. Ooh. See how it... So I look for those things that kind of make it fun. Like here. I've now got, 2 or 3 planes I'm working with. Of which then I might take and add maybe a little more color or something a little bit different. Might give it a little texture. I'm kind of dry brushing a little more of the green in. But as you can see, look at this. Tell me that don't look like underwater vegetation. I also use it for lichens. If anybody's familiar with those, that kind of mold that grows on rocks, that fuzzy kind of mold that grows on rocks. That's another good example of how I do this or how I make these things. That way, the
lichen was a werewolf.
No, that's what is that? No, that's something else. It's LY. Oh, see, you're gonna make me spell. Oh my God. All right. Anyway,
the spelling might be different, but I believe they're pronounced the same.
Well, could be, or I'm not pronouncing it right. So, but they're kind of like a fuzzy, kind of plant that grows on tree limbs and stuff like that. You see them turn bright green in the rain. You'll see your trees will have that. Well, you'll see the bright green when it's raining. You'll catch them. Anyway, so it's another, like I said, you'll find I do rock walls. I do, sometimes I'll do stucco. But I use it for a lot of different things. It's kind of fun because you don't know exactly what you're going to get, but you do get some fun technique without without doing a whole lot of work. The salt and the paint do the work for you. So give it a try. Do a little experiment with it. Have a little fun with it. As you can see, don't try to do it twice.
Unless you want it to look like you laid down saran wrap on top of the painting.
Oh, that's another lesson.
What?
Saran wrap, yeah. Anyway, but we'll let that go for now. Thank you, everybody. Made a big mess, but it cleans up easy enough. You take care. Mark, anything you have to say?
Thanks for watching. As usual, be sure to subscribe to the channel. Give the video a like. Check out the links in the description. We have a list of all the materials Keith uses in all his paintings
except the salt.
Except for the salt. I might add that.
Yeah.
From the Schminke brand pan paints to the Low Cornell brushes to the Arches 140 cold press watercolor paper, the butcher tray, I already mentioned the brushes. So
yep.
And other stuff might be there, drawing tools and things. I don't remember at the moment. Check it out. We get a small commission if you buy something from the link. Otherwise, use it to purchase at your local store. You don't pay any extra either way from us. And leave us a comment if you want to see more of these salt experiments and little tricks and tidbits in future videos.
Don't do it again.
Never again.
We learned our lesson.
It takes forever.
We'll do our own.
Oh my gosh.
All right. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.